You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win in every way. You showed me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win in every way.
Hi, everybody. Here we are.
That felt slightly premature, but hi, how are you?
I'm good, Sami. How are you?
I'm so good. It's so good to see you. Your together again was amazing
Thanks,
on
my
Saturday.
son.
Yeah,
It was a lot of
beautiful.
fun. And we were talking about how we're missing that connectedness, and you sending videos off to like chat, yourself, filming yourself singing. And you're like, okay, cool. But then when you see it all come together, you feel really a sense of such community. So
Amazing.
thank you for that. And thank you
can see it.
for Unseen and for doing this. It's freaking amazing to revisit
agree.
those times.
And that's another thing we wanted to talk about was just the amazing work that Unseen is doing to raise funds for the Theatre Benevolent Fund. So if you feel moved, anyone, to donate, you can see where the snap scan is on the bottom right of the screen. Please go ahead and donate. We're needing to help our freelance performers. That means us as well.
That means us as well. Yeah. So please don't hesitate to donate and to weigh in, guys. We always say, please comment, go ahead. Yeah, Sami.
Exactly. So, Coms, how was your weekend? I know you were really, really busy. How was the reflections on our exercise on Friday?
So it's always so useful. I hope that those people at home are doing as much journaling as we kind of are starting this process. Talking about conflict, I was just journaling about all of that. And it naturally rose the topic of kind of why things sometimes seem so undiscernible or different between two people. Is because people have, hello Hardy-Dars, people have different ways of viewing things, right? Like I see something that one way and you might see it a different way. So belief systems.
Totally.
And that came up a lot for me. It was kind of the communication about what I believe and what you believe and how we can make that accessible for both of us and understand each other. And that's what the whole world, everything is about that, right?
It really is. And I mean, my weekend as well was about, was really challenging. I sort of felt very quiet and very reflective. And
really?
And I mean, we were talking about like healthy tools for communication and helpful ways of dealing with those conflicts. But what kept coming up time and time again for me was, just actually the voice in my head. And I realized, you know what I mean? That continual chatter that we all have. And it's just like this endless, mindless chatter. And thinking like, we were talking about communicating like a Buddhist, and unless you've actually mastered how to think like a Buddhist, I think that's all of us. Like, it doesn't matter how unique we are and whatever issues we're facing. There's this endless stream of noise in our heads. And it's a voice that tends to be negative. It worries us about what's to come. It belittles us. It disciplines us. It argues, it fights, debates, criticizes, compares us. It really stops to take a breath, and we just listen and listen and listen as it talks and talks and talks. And so this automatically made me think about the thoughts that we need to address. And this has made me think about, this should be our next theme for today.
Brilliant. I love that.
Yes.
Ponderings.
Here
goes. So the ponderings for today, belief systems and challenging the way we think.
Yes. And so, so just to say, like, I obviously, as you know, Coms, I have studied the life coaching for kids.
Yes, that's so exciting.
It's such a brilliant little program, and it deals with cognitive behavioral therapy. And the reason why I think it's so brilliant is because it takes really difficult and complex theories, and it manages to break it down for kids to understand without dumbing it down. It manages to break it down into really relatable and understandable steps. So much so that when I was studying it, I thought, I wish I'd known this when I was a kid.
Yes.
You know? And in fact, it was helping me. While I was learning it, I was like, those are valuable tools to think about. So what I did was this weekend, I just really went deeper into it so that I could address it from an adult standpoint. But really, it's exactly the same. And I found quite a lot of beautiful articles, actually. I'm going to post them in the comments here. A couple of resources that you can absolutely go to. But the main thing that I wanted to address was the thinking that we have, okay? And needing to break it down into these three different kinds of thinking, just so that everyone can understand actually how important it is. So we have three kinds of thoughts that our brains produce. The first is insightful thinking. Insightful thinking.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And that's used for problem solving, okay? Then we have experiential thinking, and that's just focused on whatever task you're dealing with at that moment. You seem to have brilliant experiential thinking, Coms, because you can multitask like a mofo. Me, on the other hand, I'm single-track minded, so my experiential thinking is really just focused on one thing at a time. And then the third kind of thinking is this incessant chatter. Okay. We all have it. So insightful thinking is the thinking that helps us to do these long-range kind of planning and problem solving. And experiential thinking brings our attention onto our senses, such as our sight, our sound, our feeling sensations. And both of those types of thinking are really crucial for what we need to do in the world. Experiential and insightful thinking. Both of those crucial. And they're both of them actually make you focus on the present moment. That's why they're also really helpful. Now, this incessant thinking, however, serves no purpose. Absolutely no purpose at all. All it does is it creates this unnecessary suffering.
That's so true.
Absolutely.
It doesn't really serve a purpose.
Doesn't serve a purpose, and yet that's the voice that we're continually engaging with and listening to. It's just this incessant thinking, and our attention tends to be attracted to whatever is problematic at the moment. So it focuses on some real or imaginary pain, okay, or recent grudges or long-held past frustrations, whatever it is, and it just makes us feel bad about ourselves or about a relationship that we have with someone, and it just causes suffering.
Amen.
So the reason I think it's important to talk about just is it would really help us to function well if we can really distinguish between what's working for us and what's working against us. So we know experiential and insightful thinking is working for us. Incessant thinking is working against us. Okay. That's what Einstein was actually talking about when he said we only use 10% of our brains, because the rest, most of it is subconscious thinking. And that subconscious thinking is operating like when you're opening a bunch of computer programs, they're running in the background all the time. So they're informing us without us even realizing that they're still open. Do you understand? So they're even informing the conscious thoughts that we have.
Yes, that's such a good way to think about it.
Exactly.
I love that. It's like it's exactly there in the background all the time.
All the time.
Taking up energy.
Taking up time, taking up energy, taking up all sorts of positive time and space that we could be focusing on something that serves us, that is supportive of us. So, I mean, if you can think about it like this is also really funny to me. If you can think about the fact that everybody that you encounter when you walk down the streets, okay, is talking to themselves in their own head. Okay, so they're constantly also walking down, and they're judging everything that they see. They're
like in What Women Want.
I haven't even seen that. Is that
with Mel Gibson and Helen Hunt, and then he can hear her thought. He can hear the thoughts of women.
Right. Yeah. So now imagine, I mean, I'm just thinking, imagine if you could hear what everyone was thinking. So like everyone is constantly judging everything they're seeing. They're playing back what happened yesterday. They're dreaming in some fantasy land about what's going to happen tomorrow. They're worrying about it, whatever. And like, honestly, if we started voicing like everything we thought about in our head, we would be locked up in some mental institution.
Yes. Because we're allowed to think what we want. We're not allowed to say what we want. But the thinking what we want is sometimes a problem.
I know we allow it, but like when we allow it in the privacy of our own mind, but if we had to like voice it, we would realize how mad it is. Because imagine like you listening to a man, because I know I've had this experience where I have seen someone who is a little bit mad and he's just incessantly talking to himself and just talking. And my mother and I, as well, we're driving down the street, hell. But now imagine like that man, and you thought he was previously really intelligent and you've engaged with him before and he's, been really helpful in a work situation, and suddenly he just began to talk about everything that he was thinking. Imagine he was like, I'm walking down the street and I'm seeing this and I'm thinking, oh my God, what happened yesterday? And he just like this incessant babble.
Yes. Oh, that person is bad. Oh, I'm too skinny. Oh, I need to. Yes.
You would just completely think to yourself, I can't trust this man. He has lost all like sense of his faculties and I can't trust him to do anything worthwhile. And that's how our minds are. So like the important thing and the realization of this is like how important it is to break that incessant like chatter, to get out of the stream or the trance of this kind of thinking, because this kind of thinking is really the very epitome of mindlessness. It's not mindful at all. So there's this way, because you can think to yourself, okay, well, now I know that. How do I break it? How do I actually break this loop? Because it is this continual loop that just happens and happens and happens. You can't seem to get out of it.
Yeah.
So the first thing you need to understand, and this is also, I found this like so brilliantly put, is like the first component of a negative loop is adversity. Okay.
Yes.
So we encounter adversity when we face something unfavorable, an unfavorable event, something that we determine as being uncomfortable, difficult to handle, whatever.
Yeah.
The next component is beliefs. We then create a narrative around that adversity, which then becomes our belief. Okay.
Amen.
So we suddenly okay. And then the third component is consequences. So those beliefs then influence what we do next. So they become consequences. Okay. So here's an example. So imagine this guy, he's a boss, and he's yelling at his assistant because she forgot to print sort of a key report that was really, really important.
Yes.
And so that's the difficult situation. That's adversity. It's a simple way of sort of seeing it. It's not a tragic event, but it's adversity still. Something that went wrong. He might think to himself, oh my God, I'm a really lousy boss. And that's his belief. That's his belief based on that. And then because he's thinking I'm a lousy boss, he goes into the next meeting and his self-esteem and his confidence has completely plummeted.
Yes.
And he performs badly in the meeting, and that's the consequence. Okay.
Yes. So it translates directly into his life.
Yes. So the key point occurs between adversity and belief. When you encounter adversity, you've got to get in there, be aware of what that narrative is, and possibly reframe it in a positive way, so it doesn't become part of your belief system, which then will influence how you perceive the world and how you behave and how you go out into the world. So there's a beautiful Chinese proverb. It's called, it's from long ago, but basically it really speaks about it. It says, sow a thought and reap an act. Sow an act and reap a habit. Sow a habit and reap a character. Sow a character and reap a destiny. That's kind of cool. Right?
That's amazing. And Oprah had some Oprah. Not that she's like a master, but I mean an ascended master. But she also had the same thing. She said something like exactly that: thoughts become words, become actions, become your life, become your reality. Right.
Right. So what I wanted to just put up was just the model of this cognitive behavior model, basically the way to think cognizantly about this behavioral therapy. Looks like this. And that's exactly it. And that is the situation, something happens, it leads to a thought, the situation is interpreted by you, it creates an emotion, and this feeling occurs as a result of the thought, and then it creates the behavior. an action in response to the emotion. And I'll just give you, because we're running out of time, and I know we need to do your exploration exercise, so I'm just going to give you a very basic kind of way to, put this into maybe the way in which you could introduce it into your life.
Yes, but that might be a nice way to do, to do the exploration exercise.
Yes, it will be definitely. No, it'll be definitely into your exploration. If you just think about yourself right now and you can go, okay, how am I feeling? What is your emotion right now? Now, it could be positive emotion. You're feeling good about yourself. That's great. That's kind of supporting of you right now, so you don't even need to examine it. If you're feeling a little bit off or a little bit down, that's definitely an emotion that we would call a low vibrational frequency. So it's an emotion that kind of pulls you down, pulls your mood down. Then that means, okay, I'm feeling something that's not in support of me right now. So if you can stop and examine that, okay, what is that emotion? Sometimes it might be as a result of an experience that you've had that day. So it's been a negative experience and suddenly you're feeling a particular way. So then name the emotion. Okay, what is that emotion? And then once you've named it, trace it back to the thought. What's the thought that's making me feel this emotion? Could it be, okay, well, I was really shitty at rehearsal today. I completely didn't do as well as I thought. I forgot to prepare that particular piece properly, and now I'm a shocking performer and I'll never get hired ever again. So then once you examine the thought, you say, okay, wait, is that exactly true? Is that objectively true? And then, okay, how could you reframe it in a positive way? You could say, okay, I realized today wasn't a good day, but how can I make it better? I've learned from it. Thank you for that. How can I learn better from it? Let me reframe it in a positive way. Today was not such a good day, but what it has taught me is that I need to prepare better for tomorrow. I'm going to do that. I'm going to really set out my to-do list, and I will be better prepared tomorrow. Thank you for the learning. Thank you for the lesson. If you go back to your belief system, the reason you might have thought that is, oh my God, you are your failures. In other words, you fail once and then you think of yourself as a failure. You don't see it as separate from you. You don't see failure as a separate event. You see, I am a failure. It translates to I am a failure. So if you can break it down like that, you can separate yourself from it, create a new positive belief, a new positive thought, and then it creates you walking into the rehearsal the next day in a positive way rather than in this negative frame.
Yes, which then will change your reality that day.
Yes,
so
exactly.
You're right. That leads beautifully into our exploration exercise. So basically today, it's just a matter of examining our core beliefs. Sammy just said about beliefs, which translate into thoughts, which translate into action. But let's go back and think about what are these beliefs actually. So have this really cool little image that I want to pop up on screen now. Like I said in the beginning, the situation is you meet a new person and think about asking them to go for coffee. You see the way we view the world is through our glasses that is made up of our perceptions and our experiences and our reality. So you can either think your core belief would be, I'm not worthy, I'm not worthy. The consequence is you don't ask the person for coffee, right? Core belief, I'm not worthy, which goes to the thought, why would they ever go out with me? Behavior, your life, that you don't ask them for coffee. You miss out on everything that could come with that relationship. Alternatively, you think you are worthy. You think, I'm going to have fun if I go out with this person, and you actually invite them for coffee. Hey, presto, you have a new friend or a new business connection, or that might even be the one connection that launches you into fame. That's, if that was your dream, you never know. So the exercise today is basically, you're going to write down, so everyone at home, let's do this together. Write down a core belief that you have that is negative about yourself. So just quickly jot it down.
Okay,
then you're going to write 3 pieces of evidence. And remember, this is evidence, which is real, concrete evidence that is contrary. Hello, Sammy. That
I wanted your
contrary to your belief. So write down the evidence that is contrary to your belief.
Okay.
And I think what we can do is Sammy and I can weigh back in next week. So we can weigh back in to what our answers were to this subject as part of our reflection. So I think we should move on to heart space and open heart space up. But for those at home, you're going to write down what a negative core belief is.
Yeah.
And then you're going to write 3 pieces of evidence as to why that is not correct.
Right.
So for
basically
example,
reframing it.
yeah, sort of exactly what Sami said. For example, I believe I have a big nose, which is the truth.
It's not the truth.
And this is a very superficial one, but let's go with that. And then my core belief, my 3 evidences of that being against my belief is people have told me that I have a cute nose. I like my profile. And the third one evidence would be someone said, can I photograph your nose so that you can be a nose model? I mean, that's a very superficial example, but you guys get what I mean.
Totally.
Don't look at my nose.
You gotta do it on that.
Okay, guys, let's open heart space and really examine. We can examine this a little bit more.
Beautiful.
I love that song.
I know.
Oh, wow.
I missed you singing in the beginning today.
Yeah.
Is that a mixed belt, or where are you placing that beautiful vocal coach?
Thank you so much, Sami. Heart space today. So
Today.
mwah, I love you. So we have a comment. Oh, this is a very tricky one.
Yeah.
Anonymous says, how do I know what the beliefs that how do I know what beliefs I have to change? How do I know if I have a belief that is not helping me that I have to change?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, referring back to what Sami said, you examine your beliefs that are not serving you and the ones that are. So you, first of all, you have to distinguish between what beliefs are negatively influencing your life. That would be where I would start, right?
Yes, for sure. I think, and again, you can always take it back. So from the outward in, if it's difficult to go from the inside out, it's easier maybe sometimes to go from the outside in. So you can say, how am I feeling? If I'm feeling bad, chances are it's a thought behind it that's making you feel that way. Let me examine it. Now, obviously, I think it also requires a great deal of self-awareness, because if you're just completely ego, and everything's like, and you're thinking, I'm feeling really good today, you might have hurt someone, but feel really good. So it might be good for you to also examine those feelings. Okay, why am I feeling great today? And then maybe the thinking, well, because I won that role because I backstabbed someone and I told a lie. And then you might, if you have a sense of awareness, go, that's really not very cool. I shouldn't have done that. What's my belief system? That you have to step on others to get ahead. Okay, is that really true? Can I change that? How can I be better? So you can even do it with a positive thought. But generally, you would look at the negative emotion, how you're feeling negatively. Is that supportive of me? Clearly not, because I'm feeling bad. Let me think of the thought behind it. What is the belief system? How do I reframe it in a positive way? I think it's important for you to just keep doing that.
And then would it be a good way, like a good litmus test for something, for a belief, to put it out into a circle of people that you know are very good people, solid, and who have a good moral compass? So let's say you examine your belief and you said, oh, I actually got this audition because last minute I stole Samantha's song, but she was told me she was going to sing this song in the audition, and I know I sing that song better than her, so I sang that song at the audition, and okay, cool, I got the role. And now I'm looking at I feel good. Let's examine that. I feel good because I got the role, but it feels even better because I backstabbed Samantha. So now I take that to my outer circle. Does that,
Yes,
would they
that would be a
approve?
good. I think you're right.
If you are a Christian or if you're religious, take that to the higher power. Would the higher power approve of what you've just done? If you're an atheist, take it to your circle of people or people that you admire. And then you will know. You will know if it was right or if it was wrong, what you did.
I think you're right. That's a beautiful way of thinking about it. Like, what would the higher me do in the situation?
And then that's the belief you really have to examine.
That's it. That's
that
gorgeous.
gives you the clue.
Nice.
I
Carl.
backstabbed Samantha. I believe that backstabbing people are good. A higher power says, no, that's wrong. Cool, let's examine that.
Yes.
Sorry,
and it goes back
I like steps, yes, and that makes sense, right?
It kind of does go back to the values again that we also spoke about last week. I briefly touched on, I guess. Is it in alignment with my values? Do you know what I mean? Is that way of thinking in alignment with our values? Maybe your values are honesty, integrity, whatever. Oh, God, no, that's not in alignment with that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Love that. So basically trying to live in connection with one's values and in touch with that all the time.
Yes, I mean, there are many times on tour as well. I could have said to you, Carmen, am I being a dick here?
I think we all could have asked each other that at some point.
I think we did that often. In fact, we did do that often, and we'd have healthy debates on the subject. And sometimes we go, we come to the conclusion ourselves, I was a bit of a dick in that moment. Maybe I should.
Yes.
And but then, because of the way you and I are with each other, we're like, well, maybe, but you are amazing in so many other ways. So, I mean, it really does help to have good friends that you can trust.
Yes, and it helps to talk about stuff. Because the inner work we do is one thing, and then the outer work is run it by someone who you trust.
Yes, and also the idea of sort of changing these belief systems is that you're not going to self-flagellate yourself. It's not about that, because you can make yourself feel even worse. The idea is to try and reframe it in a positive way so that you feel better. So even if you discover something about yourself that's not so cool, okay, well, that's what happened. How do I reframe it and learn from it and move on? It's always something to learn from. If something comes up in your life, how do I learn from it? And that's the way you close the door and move on.
Yes. Love
Take
that.
accountability, move on. Yeah. Okay.
All righty, guys. So let's pop on through to quote of the day.
Yeah, I love your madness.
I just think about Will Ferrell playing the flute.
I love your madness, I gotta say.
I love your madness. Quote of the day. Here it is. Quote of the day. Your worst enemy cannot harm you as much. Ooh, it went away. Oh, it's a very short video. Your worst enemy cannot harm you as much as your own unguarded thoughts. That's Buddha. I'm going to keep popping it up. Your worst enemy cannot harm you as much as your own unguarded thoughts.
And that is so deeply in line with that, the right speech we spoke about last week as well, about being and communicating like a Buddhist. It's really, the Buddhists say life is suffering, first noble truth. And the reason is because of the mind. And so that's why you employ meditation, to try and stop that incessant chatter, get out of the suffering of the mind.
Yeah. And I believe, I'm not a religious person, but I equate the mind, an untethered mind, for me, is the root of all evil. So I kind of see that as Satan, or whatever you call the evil side of your religion. That is where it comes into play, is through the mind, an untethered mind. In Buddhism, it's called Maya, suffering, the dark side, for me, that's the mind. It doesn't originate from somewhere in the core of the earth with a being. It originates within the human form. In here.
Exactly. You nailed it, Kami. That's exactly it. And I think what we've realized as well is how much thoughts have energy. Thoughts have energy, just quantum physics, really. Thoughts have energy and they have a vibrational frequency. And so even if you're thinking them, they go out into the universe and people are affected by them. And so that is the negative force. It's the egoic mind. Exactly it. So it's nothing to play with, because everything reaps a consequence, and that's what you have to then it'll come back to you, as we say, negative consequence. You're the one that suffers. So it's best to sort of try and just get a handle on that mind. All right,
Amen.
should we move on to moment of mindfulness? So today's mindfulness exercise is going to introduce you. Why are you laughing at me?
Because no, I'm not laughing at you. I was going to do because I've been doing one for each section today.
I know you've been playing various instruments. Okay. So, Kami, are you getting ready now? This is your moment. Today's mindfulness exercise will introduce you to a specific noting and labeling exercise or practice. And this you can use in your meditation just to help you increase your awareness. But it's also really so that you don't get so caught up in different senses. And it's especially helpful for cutting off sort of this rumination or this endless chat, as we say, and dropping us more deeply into what is actually here in this present moment. So take a moment now just to settle into a comfortable posture. And invite your eyes to close. And as we start by taking a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth, just feel yourself becoming more and more relaxed. And take 3 more deep breaths in and out. Invite the jaw to relax and soften, letting the shoulders be at ease, and letting the belly just relax and soften. And just allow your breath to steady itself into a natural rhythm, remembering to breathe deeply. And just continue with this breath work, focusing on the in-breath and the out-breath. The in-breath and the out-breath. And just continue on as I'm talking. You'll notice that there's probably some awareness of the body breathing. You'll know that you're breathing in this moment. Now, all you need to do is make a mental note of this in your mind. So, for instance, as we're focusing on the breath, we could label the breath as inhale and then exhale as the body is breathing in and as the body is breathing out. This practice entails essentially labeling or making a mental note of every experience that arises as it's happening. And now, if a thought were to arise, we would label that thought thinking. If pain were to come up in the body, we might label it pain, or we might go even closer to the pain and see, oh, that's a tingly sensation. So we might label it tingly or heat. And if there was a sound, we might make a mental note of hearing. And we would do this for all the experiences that arise. And what this does is to help you track exactly what is happening in the moment, rather than getting caught up in the story of what is happening. You know that story, where if the body feels pain, we might get stuck in the story of, oh, I hate this pain. My life was better when I wasn't in pain. How long is it going to be here? What does this mean? And it's just on and on and on. But if we label it as just pain or discomfort, it kind of cuts off that cycle and drops us into the more fundamental reality of what is here. So just take a moment now to practice on your own. Focus on the breath. And every time your mind starts to wander, just label the thought thinking. And then bring your focus back to the breath. Inhale, exhale. Inhale and exhale. If you notice any sound or any other experience that arises, you can put whatever label you want on it. So it might be hearing, might be pain, might be gratitude, might be confusion. So whatever the experience, see if you can interpret that experience with a note or a mental label, and then just return back to the breath. Just take a few moments on your own now just to practice. And when you're ready, you can start to reorient yourself back into your surroundings. Take a nice deep breath, letting your eyes open again. And the beautiful part about this is you can do this anywhere. Standing in a queue, calming yourself before a meeting, centering yourself before a difficult conversation, and as a way at any point in the day, just stop getting involved in the story or endless rumination in your mind. It allows you just to stay very, very present in the moment. And I hope that was helpful. And just to help you with this, I'm going to give you just a lovely reference point that you can go to. There's an amazing guy called Cory Muscar, and he's got a whole bunch of mindless meditation practices. So,
Mindful,
sorry,
mindless.
Thank you, Carmen. Thank you.
I'm just checking because maybe mindless is the right.
No,
the
I
right
think
word.
I think it's really good if you can go onto Cory Muscar's this amazing mindfulness teacher and just examine his mindless exercises. Thank you, my love. My mind works too damn fast. You can tell the incessant rapture that goes on in here.
I just love that we can have these serious chats, but then also, just have that little laugh in between. I love it.
I'd be a terrible teacher because my teachers would be, my pupils would be going, "Ma'am, did you
did you mean that?" Okay,
but you
guys.
would be a painful student, because you
I would be. I was, and I still am, and my father was. I get that from my father. But why? You said this, now you said this. They don't match up.
I love you.
Anyway,
okay.
Let's go into takeaway. Guys, takeaway for today. So under journaling, 5 things to be grateful for in the morning and 5 things that you're proud of yourself for doing in the evening. Please remember to do that. And then we're going to do our beautiful affirmation. The second journaling topic is your reflection every day on what we chatted about in the show. Write about it, journal about it, see what comes up. And then we're going to go into our affirmation for the day. And I just want to find it. Here it is. For the next few minutes, right under there, for the next few minutes, I will momentarily suspend what I believe in this area and willfully accept the belief that I want. During this time, my desire and belief will be one. There will be no conflict because I do this willingly for this time, I will completely alter my old beliefs. I will act as if the belief I want were mine completely. And that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much.
Love and light.
Love and light, Voyagers.
You cut me loose and set me free. You cut me loose. You made